Welcome to the cryptography course of the Mobile Application Security Professional Series, brought to you by NowSecure. In this course, we will cover insufficient and insecure practices, testing for insecure cryptography, and cryptography best practices. Let's get started. The Insufficient and Insecure Practices module. In this section, we'll learn about forms of insufficient cryptography and insecure cryptographic practices. To kick things off, let's refresh on the basics. Encryption takes something readable or plain text and transforms it into something that is not readable, also known as ciphertext. Encryption is randomized by using pseudo-random generation methods. Encryption may be applied to plain text in one of two ways. One, with stream ciphers, which encrypt plain text one bit at a time. And two, with block ciphers, which encrypt groups of bytes. Two types of encryption include symmetric key encryption, which uses the same key, and public key encryption, which requires two different keys. While public key encryption is obviously safer, it's also substantially slower. A pragmatic approach is combining these two cryptographic schemes to build trust and efficiency into infrastructure. Hashing is a one-way form of cryptography. A message authentication code, or MAC, is a short line of code meant to verify authenticity of any kind of message. MACs combine other cryptographic mechanisms, such as symmetric encryption or hashes, with secret keys to provide protection for both integrity and authenticity. Hashed Message Authentication Code, or HMAC, is the most commonly used type of MAC. It relies on hashing as the underlying cryptographic primitive. The full name of an HMAC algorithm usually includes the underlying hash function's type. For example, HMAC SHA-256 uses the SHA-256 hash function. Digital signatures build upon HMAC by adding proof. First, data is entered and a hash value is provided. A private key is then used to sign the message. A private key is the unique digital signature that proves someone is who they say they are. Now that we've reviewed the basics, let's move on to learning more about mobile app cryptography vulnerabilities. But first, if you're interested in a deeper dive into the foundations of cryptography, the first intro to the cryptography course is available on NowSecure Academy and free to everyone. Insufficient cryptography shows up in two primary forms for mobile apps: custom-made and weakly implemented. If possible, avoid building your own cryptographic algorithm. It takes many years of testing to build confidence in a cryptographic algorithm that is secure, reliable, and sufficient to use. Typically, the best, strongest algorithms have existed for at least a decade, if not more. The following are common mistakes teams make when building or implementing cryptography. As always, pay close attention to keys. Don't hardcode or reuse keys, and make sure secure key generation is implemented. Likewise for block ciphers and modes of operation. Let's review each of these vulnerabilities in more detail. Here's an example in which an engineer hard-coded a key inside the code base. It's important for everyone involved in building and launching mobile apps to understand that almost anything baked into the mobile app can be retrieved with minimal effort. Multiple modes can be used to apply encryption. During our review, we covered how block cipher mode breaks the text into blocks, then encrypts each block. If this is not handled properly and deprecated encryption is implemented, it can open the app to issues such as sensitive data exposure, key leakage, broken authentication, insecure session, and spoofing attacks. The following covers basic functions of a few different modes of operation. First, Electronic Codebook, or ECB, applies the same key to every block of text. We'll review an example of this mode of operation in action in a minute. Next, cipher block chaining, or CBC, introduces random strings or a byte stream with plain text. The cipher feedback, CFB, is the block cipher component of a random number generator. And finally, the counter, CTR, applies different counters to each initialization vector. Let's take a closer look at ECB mode using the NowSecure logo. ECB is inherently weak, given you're essentially applying the same key to every block of text. Notice the blue parts of the transparent background. The image is encrypted using ECB mode. Notice how the two images seem very similar. The top image is very clear blue text because the entire file is not encrypted. We break up the file into different blocks and use the same key to encrypt each block. The blue repeats in the encrypted text as well. To protect against this, introduce randomness, which will make the plain text a different color, then encrypt it. Because we introduce something random for each block, the blue pixels will no longer result in the same encrypted values as the encrypted image. What's wrong with this code snippet? The initialization vector is not random, set to no, and easy to guess. As a tester, we would assume the initialization vector was not initialized due to the lack of configuration of cryptographic algorithms. The second problem here is that the initialization vector is hard-coded and easily visible. By simply getting a copy of the initialization value, you can now decrypt the encrypted ciphertext. In this case, again, the initialization vector is not used for block encryption, but is used as part of a one-way encryption for a secret password. We are using the SHA algorithm to hash the password, but the randomness is not random. The password is hashed, but we are not introducing something random. In this case, the initialization vector is set to a static value of the byte version of bad nonce. The second problem here, again, is that the initialization vector, or that something random, is hard-coded inside the source code. Try to locate the common crypto flaw in this code snippet. The code snippet is using ECB mode for the AES encryption algorithm. This algorithm is being used to encrypt the hard-coded key value. This could lead to a compromise of the encrypted key value if the attacker performs cryptanalysis. Cryptographic algorithms expect a secret input of a given size. For example, AES uses a key of exactly 16 bytes. Ideally, we don't want to see the user-supplied password directly used as an input key. Instead, the password should pass into a key derivation function, or a KDF, to create a cryptographic key. NIST recommends an iteration count of at least 10,000 for a function like PBKDF2. The key takeaway from this module is that cryptography is complex. Understanding different cryptographic concepts and foundational blocks is critical to build a more trusted system. NowSecure analysts recommend reviewing the OWASP Cryptographic Storage Cheat Sheet for best practices in choosing the strongest cryptography. It's also important to keep up to date with Apple and Google guidance to ensure secure modes are employed. The Testing for Insecure Cryptography module. In this module, you will learn how to test for insecure cryptography both statically and dynamically. During static analysis, look for instances of weak cryptography within the app source code. We recommend using JADX for Android and Hopper for iOS. In this demo, a NowSecure researcher is using JADX to locate cryptographic encryption keys hard-coded in an app. Along the left side, you'll see a snippet of code from the reverse-engineered app we are navigating through on the right. The goal is to figure out the correct string to enter into the text box to display the correct secret pop-up. The NowSecure researcher attempts to guess the string several times without luck. Each time, they get an error to try again. That same code is circled in the left window. In the app code, they're able to find the same error in the verification function it relates to. Line 45 in the code is the actual check that needs investigation. If it returns true, then the successful pop-up will be returned. Line 43 pulls the string entered in the text box and sends it to the same function, so it's likely comparing something. Here is the line of interest, which is calling a decryption routine with two inputs, a key and some encrypted text. At the end of the function, it compares the decrypted string against the string submitted. Take note of the packaging class. Frida is then used to hook this decryption routine and get the decrypted string before it's compared against our input. Now you see the bit of JavaScript code that hooks the target function. Specify the same Java package and define an implementation of a target class. This is the decryption routine. The original return variable captures the output from the decryption routine, but before it can be sent on to the original process flow, it will need to be converted to a string to see what it was. From here, the researcher opens Frida and attaches to the app. Once running, open the app again and enter anything into the text box. The prompt still fails, but now we have a decrypted string in output. Verify that this is the correct string. All because the key was hard-coded in the app. In this example, a NowSecure researcher is using Objection to monitor cryptographic function calls on iOS. The researcher already has an iPad connected to their computer via USB and installed a test app. They start by launching Objection. By providing the app's identifier instead of its name, they are telling Objection to spawn the app. They also specify a startup command to monitor cryptographic function calls as the app launches. At the top of the screen, you can see a call that Objection intercepted to cc cryptor create. This is creating a cryptor that can encrypt data using AES with CBC mode. The output also shows the encryption key and IV. Notice that the IV is null and represented as all zeros. The next intercepted call is to cc cryptor update and shows some plaintext input data. This is some very secret data, so I'm going to encrypt it. The subsequent cc cryptor final call shows the final encrypted output. Here's where it gets interesting. Objection shows that the app created a second cryptor just like the first, using the same encryption key and IV. Why is this a problem? Take a closer look at the cc cryptor update call that follows. The plaintext data starts with the same characters as the previous encryption operation. This is some very secret data, but it ends differently. If you compare the encrypted output of the two strings, you'll see that they start the same too. This is because the app has reused the same key and IV to encrypt them, which would enable an attacker to deduce that these two encrypted messages must start with the same sequence of characters. Instead, a different IV should be used for each separate encryption operation. NowSecure recommends JADX or Hopper to statically test for insecure cryptography. R2 Frida or Frida are recommended for dynamic testing. The Cryptography Best Practices module. In this module, you will learn different techniques you can apply to mitigate against weak cryptography. First, ask yourself what kind of data are you storing? Is it confidential? If so, how are you protecting it? Where is it stored and how do you plan to prevent its leakage or exposure? A common question is whether we first compress and then encrypt, or first encrypt and then compress the data. Encrypted text does not have a lot of repeating characters. Trying to compress encrypted data will not have a good result since there is not much to compress. Remove the repeating characters to make it more concise. NowSecure recommends the following vetted encryption algorithms for confidentiality, integrity, digital signature, and key establishment. We've also listed algorithms that have reached the end of their life in 2022, including DES, RC4, etc. DES is in fact a very strong algorithm. The problem is the key is very short. Hard-coding your encryption keys inside a source code is a critical issue. Remove your crypto keys from Git and use tools to remove hard-coded credentials from your history. Use the longer key length. If you need to choose an algorithm, choose the symmetric algorithm or an asymmetric algorithm with a longer key length. The longer the key length, the more secure the end result. Use long, secure keys. Random keys are stronger. A key derivation function attempts to make the key as random as possible. Use key derivation functions to make the password slightly more random or make the key that you're using as random as possible. The point of cryptography is to produce a random output. You can only produce a random output if you have a very random input. You can store the keys in many different locations, but one of the strongest places to store your keys on a mobile phone is your Android key store or iOS keychain. As we saw in the first section of this course, certain devices do not support the Trusted Platform Execution Environment or secure element. For that reason, if you're concerned about advanced attacks, make sure your app can only be deployed and installed on Android devices that support the hardware-backed storage mechanism. iOS Keychain is a very secure place to store your credentials or keys. However, if your iOS Apple device is rooted or jailbroken, you can use a tool like the Keychain Dumper. Similarly, tools like Frida or Objection access the keychain and dump all the keys and passwords from the keychain. For these tools, consider the organization or customer's policy for jailbroken or rooted devices. Sometimes you must rely on some software to do the cryptography for you. Instead of trying to build your own, use well-vetted, open-sourced, and well-inspected cryptography APIs or algorithms as shown here. However, if you do not have access to hardware and encryption on the mobile device, it is better you use that instead. Whether it's Apple or Android, each device has an API you can use to access the keys and credentials from the key store. In the Android key store, use Jetpack, a library wrap-up built by Google that makes interacting with the key store easier for you as a developer. You can also use other libraries like Bouncy Castle. If you're storing data into a database, consider using SQCipher to encrypt the data in the database. Then, take the key that you use to encrypt the data in your mobile database and store that key inside of either the Android key store or Apple Keychain. In order to protect against weak cryptography, you need to know what needs to be protected first.